I'm going to review how you multiply fractions in 3 different settings, where you have a whole number times a fraction times a fraction, or you're multiplying with mixed fractions or mixed numbers. So let's go through the first process. Here you see an example of 2/5 times 3. So I have used Virtual Manipulatives app to demonstrate how you have 2/5 times 3 means we have 3 sets of those. So when you set it up, it's easy to do repeat addition like we've used to with multiplication, and you can count up the different fifths, or you can set up like an equation like I have over here. When you have a whole number, you need to set the whole number up as a fraction. So I'm going to rewrite it as 2/5 times 3 over 1, which still represents 3 whole because 1 represents the denominator, which is how many pieces are in the whole. And when you multiply fractions, you go straight across. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 5 times 1 is 5. Since this is an improper fraction, I need to simplify it by making it into a mixed number. You can use that by division or seeing how many times or how many groups of 5 you can get out of 6, which we know is 1. And the 1 leftover piece is the new numerator, and the denominator stays the same. So 2/5 times 3 would equal 1 and 1/5. Here are some examples to practice, so pause the video, practice these 4 answers, and discuss. Alright, so let's go to the next example here. Multiply fraction by fraction. So I have demonstrated, I have imported some squares, and I have divided this one into 4 pieces. And I have shaded in 3 pieces to represent the numerator. In this example, the next one, I have cut it into 8 pieces as evenly as I possibly could. And I shaded in 4 sections just like the numerator has represented. So I'm going to take this next square right here, and I'm going to combine these 2 models. So I'm going to keep my 4 pieces vertical. And then I'm going to still do my 8 pieces across. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to shade in the exact same way as my answer. So I have my 3/4 and then my 4/8. What I need to look at is the area that they overlap. Make that a little bit darker so y'all can see that. And I can count there because how many pieces do I have? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 times 8, which would be 32 total pieces. And the ones that they overlap are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 30-seconds. That's how you can represent it with the model. If you use the equation, it would be the same as we previously practiced. You line up your numerators and your denominators, and you multiply it across. So 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 8 is 32. And you can see that this is representing the same. Now, when you have fractions, you do need to make sure that they're in simplest form by finding the greatest common factor of the numerator and denominator. And if I were to find my factors, 4 is my greatest common factor. So I have to do the numerator and the denominator by the same thing to keep it equivalent, and I would get 3/8 as my simplified answer. Here are some questions to practice, so pause the video and practice these 4 questions. Set them up. These are fractions, 1/2 times 3/8. You have to make them vertical. It is more difficult when you type them up. And then practice them and check for understanding. Our last example is to multiply with mixed numbers. So I have 2.5 represented with my virtual manipulatives, and I have 1 3/5 represented with my virtual manipulatives. What I have done is I've taken my mixed numbers right here, and I have changed them into improper fractions. Actually, right there. Okay. Improper fractions. So I can see that 5/2 is equivalent to 2.5, and 8/5 is equivalent to 1 3/5. To change a mixed number into a improper fraction, you take the denominator and you multiply the whole number. So 2 times 2 is 4, and then you're going to add the numerator. So 4 plus 1 is 5, and the denominator stays the same. That's how I got 5 halves. And do the same thing over here. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 equals 8/5. Now, as we've done in the previous two lessons, we are going to multiply across. So 5 times 8 equals 40, 2 times 5 equals 10, and we still need to simplify that because that's an improper fraction. So 10 divided by, or 40 divided by 10 is actually 4, so this would represent 4 whole as our answer. Here are some questions that you need to pause the video and practice changing these into an improper fraction and then multiplying across.